People in more than 20 towns and cities in 2 regions in eastern Ukraine are voting in a referendum on declaring sovereignty. The votes are being held in Donetsk and Luhansk, where anti-Kiev protesters have been controlling government buildings for weeks. Sunday's referendums will ask voters if their regions should become independent from Ukraine. Live images we're getting from Donetsk, where people have turned out to participate in the referendum to gain greater autonomy for the specific regions in eastern Ukraine, namely Donetsk and Luhansk. The interim government in Kiev and its key supporter, the United States, have warned that the vote is illegal, saying that it could result in the self-destruction of the region. 7 million people are living in Donetsk and Luhansk. Calls for separation from Ukraine became louder after Crimea separated from Ukraine and rejoined neighboring Russia, following a similar referendum in March. Well, we're now joined by our correspondent Lena Savchuk, who's joining us from the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, to tell us more about the referendum. Lena, please tell us about the preparations for the referendum, the cities that this vote will be taking place in, and more importantly, who will be participating in this vote.
Pro-Russian protesters in the east, in Donetsk and Luhansk regions, are determined to hold this referendum, and many people are determined to participate in it. Especially they are determined after Odessa clashes, where around 40 people died, 40 pro-Russian protesters died, and another factor that is fueling their anti-Ukrainian sentiment in the region is the anti-terror operation conducted by Kiev authorities in the east. Well, it is clear that 2 biggest cities of the regions, Donetsk and Luhansk, are certainly participating in the referendum, and at least 30 small towns in the region are also taking part in the referendum. Donetsk protesters said that over 1,500 polling stations were prepared to hold the referendum, and they have invited 470 reporters from all over the world to cover this vote.
Lena, can you explain to us how the situation that's taking place in Luhansk and Donetsk is different from what took place in Crimea, and how this will reflect on the already soaring tensions existing in Ukraine?
Well, certainly after this referendum, the tensions in Ukraine will certainly significantly grow. What is different in Crimea, local authorities were participating in this referendum. They were helping to prepare the referendum, and in eastern Ukraine, this referendum was prepared in a chaos, and local authorities did in most cases did not help to organize the vote.
All right, thank you very much. Press TV's Lena Savchuk joining us from the Ukrainian capital, Kiev. As we know, right now, more than 20 towns and cities in the 2 regions in eastern Ukraine of Luhansk and Donetsk are voting in referendums declaring sovereignty and greater autonomy for their regions. We are going to keep a close eye on the developments there right here on Press TV, so you might want to stay tuned.